In this tutorial, we're going to create the Acrobat file, which will be the final part of our CGPH21 project. And there will be 6 pages with a consistent design throughout. And they will have the still images, a video file, and then finally the Acrobat virtual file. So we're going to start by creating a master page to generate all the other subsequent pages with. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to New Document. And I'm going to make it 8.5 by 11. And then I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to bring up my Pages menu. Now in the Pages menu up at the top, I'm going to double click on the thumbnail next to A Master. And in here I'm going to construct the elements that will be common to all 6 pages. I'm going to start out with the frame box. I go to F on the keyboard to get there, and I'm going to set it to a proportion that will accommodate the art I've created. So I'm going to make it 4 by 1.5, and I'll get my move tool and I'll just tuck that up in the corner. And I've also created a piece of art which will be for the buttons, so I'm going to get the frame again. I'll click inside once again. I'm going to make it 1.5 by 1.5. And I'm going to put this one down at the bottom. And just to kind of keep this somewhat justified center, I'm going to drag a vertical guide to 4 1/4. And I'm going to set up the box for the buttons on that vertical guide. I'm going to go back up to the corner now where I dropped my first frame. I'm going to put the art in for that. So I could go to File, Place if I chose, or I could hit Command D. And I'll get my artwork. I'm going to right click inside the box. I'm going to go to Fitting, Fit Content Proportionally. And I'm going to do the same for the art that I've created for the button. Right click on the box, Command D, and I'll bring in the button shape. And I can right click and go to Fitting, or I can hit Command Option Shift E, and that will place it proportionally inside the box. Alright, so now I just need a box for the content, which will be still images, video, and then finally a virtual file. So once again, I'll go to my frame box and I'll click inside there. And I'm going to start out with a box that's 5 by 4. And I'll get my move tool and I'll justify that to the center. I'm going to put one last element in, and it'll be a text box so that I can reference the artwork that is on that particular page. So I'll hit T. I'll start off with black text, and I'll put in my cap lock. I'm going to choose Myriad Pro. Next, we're going to put the interactivity on the button shape down at the bottom. So once again, I'm going to get my frame tool, and I'm going to click and drag a box on the left-hand side, and I'll click and drag one similarly on the right. And I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to choose Interactive, Buttons, and Forms. Now the button on the left is going to be one that takes us to the next page. The one on the right will take us to a previous page. So I'm going to start with the one on the left. And in the Buttons and Forms window, I'm going to go up to where it says Type. I'm going to choose Button. I'm going to go to where it says Actions. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and from there I will choose Go to Next Page. Now I'll select the button frame on the right hand side, and once again I'll go to Type Button. I'll go to Actions, click on the plus sign, and from that drop down window I'll choose Go to Previous Page. Now I'm going to generate the pages I need for the actual files. I'll go over and start on page 1 in the page menu. I'll double click on it. I want to activate this box so that I can place my art. So I'll hold down Command Option Shift and hit L, and all that does is unlock the locked boxes. I'm going to select the box in the center where the art will go, and I'm going to place it. So once again, I could go to File, Place at the top of the interface, or I could hit Command D, and I'll start to bring in my artwork. I'll hit Command Option Shift E, which is the equivalent of right-clicking and choosing fit content proportionally. Now, I'm going to do this for each of the other pages, and then when I come back with all 4 stills, we'll place the video. And as I make these pages, I'm going to change the still number to its respective number 1 through 4, or more if you chose to do more. All right, so I've generated the 4 pages I need for each of my still images, and I've changed the number inside the text box to reference the art. And we're going to generate page number 5, and that's where the video will go. So I'll go up to my master page at the top, and with my left mouse I'll drag another page down. I'll activate that by hitting Command Shift Option L, and I get my text tool, and I'll change this to video, and I'm going to select the box, and I will place the MP4 into that. And now once I've placed the video in, I want to be able to reference or see the actual art inside my Acrobat file, so I'm going to close out my button shape for a moment. I'll go to Window, Interactive Media. Then immediately you'll see your video in the upper right-hand corner. So I'm going to choose from the option windows, Play on Page Load, so that the movie plays as soon as someone navigates to the page. And then where it says Poster, I'm going to choose from Current Frame. And for the controller, I'm going to choose Skin Overall. And the last thing I'm going to do is show control on rollover. So what that means is the second time this video would be played by the user, they would roll over and then see the toolbar and be able to engage with it once again. So now I've got my video in. I'm going to hit Command S to save. Now we need one last page in which to put the Acrobat virtual file. Now, as we discussed earlier in the semester, that virtual U3D cannot be embedded in an InDesign file. So we need to have a blank page so that when we generate the interactive PDF in InDesign, we can then open up an Acrobat and place that 3D file where it belongs. Now, once I've got that, I'm going to activate the boxes on the page. I think I'll just move this up a bit. I'm going to change the text to reference the virtual 3D model. And just give me a target to drop that file, and when I get into Acrobat, I'm going to select that default box, and I'm going to put a black stroke on it, and I'm going to make it 2 points, and I'm going to scale it perhaps a little bit more vertical, because my box is vertical, and if you recall, that box doesn't have the ground plane on it. I've chosen to leave just the object so that the user can look at all sides of that box now. Once I've got that, the last thing I need to do is address the button issue, because our first page and our last page have pretty much the same buttons as all the interior pages, and that's not quite what we want. So let's go back up to page 1, and in page 1, we don't need a back button because there's no other pages that preceded. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll go to my Window, Interactive, and I'm going to go to Buttons and Forms, and I'm going to take off the Go to Previous. So next to Actions, I'll click on the minus sign, and I'm going to make that white while I'm at it there, so there's no confusion. If there's 2 buttons, it could be confusing for the user. So all I want is the Go to Next button visible. So I'll select the box, and I'll go up and I'll change the fill to white. Now all we have to do is go to the very last page where our virtual file will be, and for that one we need to get rid of the next button because there's nothing to go to after this page. So I'll select the Go to Next button on the left hand side on page 6, and I will delete the action, and I will fill that with white as well. And now all I want to do with this button is, rather than go backwards, I want this to go to page number 1. So in the action window, I'll take off that function. And once again, I'll click on the plus sign and I'll choose Go to First Page. And now we've completed the layout part of this, and we're going to go ahead now and we're going to go into Acrobat and we'll place a 3D file. So in order to make an interactive 3D file out of this document, we need to go to File, and we're going to go to Export. And down at the bottom, be sure to choose the format Adobe PDF Interactive. And I'm going to click Save and just simply hit Export. So now we're in Acrobat and I'm just checking my buttons. There's my video, and now I'm navigating to my blank file. Now, while I'm in Acrobat, I'm going to go over to the right-hand side of the interface. I'm going to choose Edit PDF. And then in the upper left-hand corner, I'll click on Tools. Now, at the far right-hand side, the last icon at the top, you'll see a Rich Media button, this green film. I'm going to click on it, and it will return us to our document window. And now all I need to do is click on Add 3D, drag a selection box inside my reference lines, and now once I let go, it prompts me to introduce that virtual 3D file. I'll click on Choose, and in my folder, I'm going to choose the U3D, and I'll hit Open, and click OK. Now it comes up with a gray background, which is not what I want, so I'm going to right-click inside, hold the mouse, go to Properties, and you'll see that halfway down that first window that pops up under Launch Settings, Transparent Background. I'm going to click on that, click OK. Now, because of this type of file, Acrobat asks for permission to preview it. So in the upper right-hand corner where it says Options, I'll click on the Options button and I'll choose Trust this document. Now when I return to the file and click on it, it will give me that virtual file to manipulate. And there you have it.